Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Get in the Herd, a recovery podcast brought to you by the McShin Foundation. I'm Alex Bond, your host. My co-host, Nathan Mitchell.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hang loose.
We out here.
I'm dorky today.
We are back with Joey
Squad.
Jewel
Squad.
post court. This is a
and I'm on the street.
This is part two, pretty much, to our podcast from a couple days ago on Tuesday. Joey went to court. We're about to check up with him, see how everything went. Joey, what's up, buddy?
Everything got dropped in Richmond.
Stop it!
Yeah,
What?
Down here, everything got dropped. Well, hold on. Correction. Got no process. However the fuck you say that.
No pros?
Yeah. Just basically means that they can bring it back up within a year if any new evidence comes. But dude, the press charges on me he came to court, and mind you, these charges are really old, and he came into court. It's my old boss, and he came into court, and he was like, what am I doing here? And I was like, well, you pressed charges on me about 3 years ago, bud. And he was like, I don't even remember that. And I was like, well, tell them that. and he did, man. And the DA tried to pick up the case like I knew she would. And my old boss turned around and was like, nah, he didn't do anything wrong, man. It was my mistake. And left the courtroom, and judge shut it down and told me to get out of her courtroom.
When
Boom.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Like it's so awesome to hear. First off, it's excellent news.
Yeah.
When stuff like that happens to me, it almost like invalidates my feelings going into something like
Right.
that.
Yeah, because like I'm sitting first, like for like 3 days I was shaking like a dog shit in a peach seed, and like I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know how to handle that anxiety anymore, man.
Can we have that? Was that a dog? What?
Shaking like a dog shit in a peach seed. Peach seeds are big. What it's coming out of isn't. So
All right,
Graphic.
all right. Thank you.
graphic.
Okay.
Anyways, but like I don't know how to handle that anxiety for real, and that's something because I'm scared for real. Yeah, like I don't like to put off a front like I'm scared because that's just my mask that I put on.
Which is okay to feel. Is kind of how we were talking. I mean, it's not. It's if you do something to react unhealthily to that fear and anxiety is one thing, but usually when I have all this fear and anxiety going into court and then something really good happens, I look back and I'm like, why was I even stressed out to begin with?
Right. Because you can like I look at it yesterday when I came home from court, I was lit. I was like so stoked with life, and the trees were prettier and like all this, you know what I'm saying? Like
That's good. You were looking good too. You were dressed to the nines.
Woo. She looked at me and she said, let him go.
Give it away now.
Yeah.
Give it away. Give it away. Give it away.
She said, sir, you look just like Conor McGregor. We're going to have to let you go now. Pretty sure you got a fight coming up.
Before it gets ugly. Do you end up dealing with those same sort of anxieties and then looking back at it with some hindsight, hindsight 2020 visions? Like if you're going into a speaking setting or a class or a discussion or something like that, like sometimes I get this anxiety and feel really good about it afterward and second guess why I felt that way.
Your first mistake, Alex, is to assume that I deal with the anxiety.
Sure.
I just put it off, and just
until it deals with you.
Yeah. But there's and even though we're joking right now, that is my go-to. I'd much rather just worry about somebody else or fix the refrigerator and all the contents. That's you're looking up there at the comments right there. Ben Kramer, our entire listenership or viewership in Facebook right now is one guy sitting at home, very, very sick with a sinus infection.
He's doing a great job.
Soup.
Poor little guy.
Poor Ben.
We will bring you soup when the podcast is over. Sir.
But Ben, this is actually a good topic for you because we've already mentioned taking the mask off, right? And the mask was discussed, and I know that's the topic for the Care Talks next week, and Ben Kramer is going to be speaking at Care Talks next week. So, Ben, listen to what Joe says, and then make it yours.
Let me listen to what you say. You got way more time than I do.
But to truly answer your question, though, because I just did exactly what I normally do when I'm filled with anxiety. I deflected, right? I use humor to not deal with things. I ignore situations. I just assume it'll go away, and I get really frustrated, like when I can't handle something. I don't want to ask for help. And then yes, when it goes through, gets passed, it's sort of like, why did I even think about that? This happened just today, and without getting specific about the situation, it was like, I fretted over a situation that happened, and although I didn't know what to do, I knew what to do. I just fretted over the situation, and really, there was no point. It's like, oh yeah, right. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about other people in the situation. So. Go to work, Brian. These are two of my housemates right here. Yeah. I love this.
Let Brian participate. So Joey, Ben was asking, what's next?
Oh man, what's next? Keep it
what's
pushing,
the next move specifically?
Keep it pushing. Keep it. I'm gonna stay here for as long as until stabilization, and then.
So we're looking 2046.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
That brings up a very open and large question.
Yeah.
What's stabilization look like?
Man, who even knows what that looks like to me? What it looks like to me is just being ready, man, being comfortable and taking the next step in my life, right? Because I'm really good at following rules and guidelines, and I'm really good at
clearly with all the court dates,
right? You know what I mean? I'm good at prisons and institutions and McShin programs and stuff like this. I'm good at it, man, because that's what I know. That's what I'm good at. I follow rules. I can be program perfect. But it's when I touch down and start building a life for myself that the chaos sets in. And how do I handle that chaos? So either I practice the spiritual principles and a program of action, or I regress and go back into doing what I always do and try to hide and hide from my feelings, hide from my emotions, and stop sharing that shit. And you know what I mean? Just keep all my emotions bottled up and do the same shit that I always did and tear it right back down again. Because I've done it 5-6 times now. I've done it, built a life for myself and gotten all the stuff back and tore it all down again. Mm-hmm.
See, that's tough is then leaving from someone else's rules to creating my own,
right? And
then prioritizing rules.
Yeah,
I feel like all the rules that are set in place in employment, society, here as even a participant and a house leader, I have to prioritize certain rules over another. And I'm going to be honest, I don't care about people gambling in the house as much as getting high in the house. I feel like those are trying to equate all rules with each other is going to just result in people thinking that we're handcuffed all the time.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That leads to resentments.
Yeah.
What are resentments?
Premeditated. Wait, just expectations.
Expectations
are premeditated resentments.
No, they are the number one offender.
The number one offenders. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, I
skipped. It's
okay. I've been loving that saying recently, though, because expectations have been something that I've been actively trying to avoid
because they lead to resentments, and because resentments are the number one offender. It's
it's a domino effect
in the literature. Yeah,
but the number one resentment is against me. It's against myself. That's it. That's the hit for me, at least. You know what I mean? My biggest resentment is against myself, because nobody hurts me like me. I'm really good at it. But that's why I have to learn from people like Ben, learn from people like you guys who got more time than me. All right. Because just because I've been here before doesn't mean that I know anything about how any of this stuff works. And I mean, I've been in and out of the rooms for 12 years.
Yeah,
man. You know what I mean? I've put together sustained clean time, put together all this stuff. The whole time I was on the run from the cops, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been on the run. I was on the run for 4 years before this, So how much of my program was a lie and how much of it was the truth? You know what I'm saying? But where's I got to either be 100% in this thing or I'm 100% out. I got to give everything I got or I'm not.
Because the only one that can determine if I'm white knuckling this is me anyway.
Right. So it's you can't tell me that I'm struggling.
Yeah.
You don't know. I know. And man, I'm sponsoring guys, and this is a big part of what sent me back out for real. Is I'm sponsoring guys, helping people through the steps of AA, because I'm an AA baby for those of you that don't know. And I'm taking these guys through the steps, and the whole time I'm lying to them about where I'm at mentally. I'm not talking about the outward material stuff. Everybody can see that shit, but I'm talking about, man, I'm running for, I have active warrants for my arrest from 4 years ago and I'm taking people through spiritual steps.
You got to face your problems.
Yeah.
You do, not me.
Right. Because of the deflection. Right. Like I want to help somebody else. And it's like the other day when I was sharing a group, man, I was scared to death because I thought I was going back. I was going back to jail, man. And, you know what I mean? I share a lot in the groups that we do here. And I talk a lot about the big book and the basic text because, I mean, that's the stuff that I know about. And I told the guys, I was like, the reason I do that is because I want to give you guys as much information I can before I go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like, I don't know if it helps or hurts, but, you know, they always say, share that shit.
Share.
Yeah.
That shit.
And so like,
Better
and I can only keep what I have by giving it away. And if I got anything, I'm not going to hold my mouth about it.
Well, that imposter, what it's been explained to me as is the imposter syndrome, which is what I deal with in the rooms a lot of times. Sometimes it's not always like how I'm acting, but a lot of times I'll sit in a meeting and be like, I don't belong here.
Right.
Like it's one of the only places where I have this overwhelming anxiety and fear and introspection because it's like, everyone can see straight through me. Yeah. I can get away with it on the street and not have to think about it too much. But as soon as I step in a room, it's like, you know, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. So I just, everything goes right through me. And I just sit there squirming, uncomfortable, thinking everyone's judging me when they're not. Everyone's thinking, no, everyone's judging me.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, like, I have no problem going to work or telling people on the streets that I'm in recovery. You know what I mean? Like, I have no problem being like, no, thank you. I don't want a beer. I've been in recovery for like 4 months now. Don't, thank you. But
wear like a big badge, like that's who I am now.
Right. But like then I come in the rooms and I'm like scared to death to tell you guys who I really am or like what the hell's going on with me. And like that, you know. And the other day I opened my mouth in a really big meeting, man, and that gives me anxiety for whatever reason. You guys know I'm a social you guys know I'm a social butterfly. A cute one too, right? But like
you can't be both.
No. So but like I opened my mouth in a really big meeting the other day and I like actually shared that like, dude, I'm scared to death, man. And like that's the first time I've ever been able to do that for me. Yeah. It's just to be vulnerable enough with the people that I'm surrounding myself with.
Look what he said. What do you see? What's up? Can you read that right there?
No, I can't read that. You know,
Billy McGee up there says, "Hey Joe, thanks for your share Monday night. Hope all goes well." Oh, I'm not kidding. That's why I point up there. Yeah. That's
probably the place that I was at. That I'm talking about right now. And like I've never been able to be that vulnerable with somebody. Or you guys especially, but now that like I feel like I cleaned that slate of dishonesty that I projected into the recovery world, you know, for so long. Like I said, I was on the run, man, and I told you guys I'm good, I'm off probation, and like all types of shit. Because why? I don't know, but like I just now that I feel like now that I clean that slate, I can grow a lot more. And part of that growth for me is being vulnerable enough to tell you guys what is really going on with me because you guys deserve it. You guys show me nothing but unconditional love when I come in here. And then like you guys deserve the same in return.
Yeah. Okay. And you deserve it too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
you deserve to be honest to yourself for yourself.
That's true.
You know? Like as much as, you know, they're lying about being off probation or whatever was the case. I mean, ultimately, who does it hurt?
Me.
Right. So it freaking matter.
No.
You know?
And that's what I'm saying, man. And like, so like, and hopefully it helps somebody, man, because like, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Our 12 steps of having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps.
Well, and to be able to show somebody that, you know what, when I become vulnerable, when I'm honest with myself and with other people, you know, it's not as scary as I think it is.
Right.
You know, and I that's a challenge. It's a challenge I face all the time. Right. And certainly probably daily. Yeah. And, you know, I'm grateful for this morning. You know, this morning I got 2 phone calls this morning before I even left the house. And before I even got in the shower. And 2 people in recovery, one who happens to be my roommate had already left and he was asking about something. And then the other was from, you know, somebody I work with on a quasi-professional level who's out in West quasi-professional level. And she's been Joanna, she's been on the show, and to be able to sit and just talk to her about professional stuff, but also life stuff. Was really, and I don't know if she's listening. I've texted her a few times back and forth this morning, but it was really awesome because that was out of the blue, and it made me feel, it made me feel valued in a way that didn't make me feel like I was seeking that validation. Like when she called, it didn't feel abnormal. Like I didn't get that imposter syndrome. Like, why is she calling me? I don't have any. It's like I have something happening this evening. She's a part of that. She was calling to talk about that. And it was normal. And I am scared. I'm putting myself out in a professional and public way over the next few months. And this is a beginning of that. And yeah, I'm scared to look stupid.
Right.
I'm scared to realize that I am the stupid person I think I am. That's probably the biggest fear. Fucking moron. Sorry about the F word.
No, he's not.
You can tell I've been hanging around Joey because I'm doing this thing now. But it's scary, to face things that are scary, and putting myself out and failing. Failure is scary. Failure to me is very scary. I'm grateful that I don't have any legal hurdles anymore that I'm aware of. I'm sure that I don't. And even as I say, I'm sure I don't, that little back of my head, that little lizard part of my brain's going,
what about that one thing that did in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Well, it's like, what is the statute of limitations on that? Did they found the bodies yet?
Hold on.
No, there are no bodies. I burned them. But
stop it.
Stop it. This is what happens, Alex, when you grab us at the last minute.
Keep it rolling, baby.
Keep it rolling, right?
What do they say? Play the tape out, man.
Play the tape out. But then it's like Alex and I discovered earlier today that if you sit in my office and you talk to Alexa, who's out there, she's probably listening right now. Where is she? And you ask, to play the podcast, Get in the Herd. Well, it'll play a book by something else. And then if you ask her about 8,000 times and then switch over to the other Alexa, which actually goes by computer, eventually we'll get, this podcast will just start speaking, and it'll be like, hey, this is McShin Podcast, Get in the Herd with host Alex Bond and co-host Nathan Mitchell with guest David Butts, yesterday's episode. And we started listening to it, and both of us just sat there, and I've listened to the show, not when I wasn't on it. And when I was on the road, I listened several times. But to sit there and hear us and Alex tell me he'd never heard the show was pretty wild.
Alex, you've never listened to the show?
No.
I hate the sound of it.
I mean, I checked different versions of it and stuff like that.
That's because I hate the sound of my own voice.
I hate the sound of my own voice.
I hate it. I can't even listen to myself.
My background, I've gotten over that part. It's just more of a matter of when I do this, I kind of just black out and speak what's on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So maybe I'm even fearful of what is actually on my mind sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. But
I'm not going to remember saying that in about 20 minutes.
Well, but okay,
so be out at the smoke shack. Man, did I
just say that? I'll wake up in the middle of the night and think, what the heck did I just say?
Yeah.
But I love that. Today, yesterday, I had the opportunity to share in a 12-step meeting, and it was a last minute thing. Somebody called me at last minute, and I was in the middle of getting ready to settle down for the night, and so I'm in a position these days to take the suggestion and say yes, and to get past that self, and the suggestion for me when I got in there, from tell what it was like, what happened and what it's like now, and I try to keep that in my mind whenever I share. But the one big thing that I always forget to do, which is so funny because I hear it all the damn time, and the one thing I actually did last night that was really helpful for me was to pause and ask that it not be me. Sorry, that it not be me.
I've heard other people do that before.
Yeah, and I have too.
Right when you start, you pretty much are just like,
"Thy will be done."
I'm merely a vessel for God's word, type of thing.
Different
version of.
I avoid the word vessel.
We only reach for a message of hope.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
clear message of hope. That's all we try to deliver when we share, man. Now, the question is, is there healthy fear? Of course there's healthy fear. I'm not going to grab a rattlesnake by the tail and just be like, tight. But
I mean,
you'll probably just kill it. But whatever.
No, I might grab it. And, hey, look, I jumped out of a perfectly good airplane. So
that's tight.
And so I was terrified, and I'm not entirely sure it was the best decision in my life, but I did.
But you had a parachute. That you had faith that was going to work, right?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
You gotta have faith. Just a blanket with holes in it. You got enough faith.
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
And there was a guy attached to my back who also
tandem jumped.
Well, the first in Virginia at least.
Yeah, the first couple
times,
like 3 times I think.
Yeah, and so I had somebody with me, kind of like a sponsor, if you will, And if
we're making a whole thing,
we are doing a whole thing. And if we really want to dive deeper into this, I know you were going to speak. I apologize for cutting you off, but if we want to continue this metaphor, we went for my mother's 40th birthday, and my mother had me when she was young, so I was 20. I was 23 when she was 40, and so
how old is she now?
Well, she's 16 years older than I am, so 17 years older than I am right now. She had me young, and thank you, Chelsea. We are awesome. We love you. Oh, and hey, Dale,
you're awesome.
But so the analogy goes that we went for her 40th birthday. She was in the plane before my plane, and I got to see her do it and succeed and get to the ground safely. So I saw somebody I loved and trusted get to the bottom and get through the fear and get through it. And then, of course, I went, I can't pussy out now.
Yeah. But would you have trusted it if you didn't see your mom go first?
Probably.
I've always. I mean, I'll send it. I'll go off a 10-stair with a skateboard right now at 30. Haven't skated in years, but I'll do it.
I probably would have. I mean, the people, other people around there doing it, seemed happy. It was easy. It was made easier because I saw somebody I trusted do it first.
Sure,
absolutely.
And if she can do it, I can do it. It also helped that the guys, and at the time, of course, I didn't know exactly who I was in terms of my disease, but the guys who were there were all in recovery from cocaine addiction. So go figure. Maybe, yeah,
checks out.
Definitely checks out. So
we got to find it somewhere.
The healthy fear.
I want to double back to something that you were talking about with this conversation with Joanna. So she initially called you in a professional setting, correct?
Yeah.
And then it turned into a personal conversation. Yeah. And I think that this community and this, I don't know, industry, I feel like that's a bad word for it, but that we work in, it is one of the only ones where you benefit more as an employee in that community and industry when you talk with personal people about personal things. So I feel like it benefits me as an employee for the McShin Foundation the more I talk about personal things with people, even though I'm not intending to do it as an employee. You know what I'm saying? It helps train in certain skills that are not only good as an employee, but as a human in general. You know what I'm saying? And I think when people get caught up in work environments, it's these are my these are my coworkers, and these are my friends. There's very little like crossover a lot of times.
Yeah.
Has that been your experience when you've worked with people? I know that there's certain times where there's like, oh, I become friends with this person, but there always feels like some weird line in the sand where you'll always be like a coworker with someone.
A coworker, as in
compared to like in our organization that turns into peers at the exact same time.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I'm a carpenter. Right. By the way, that's what I do. So I build decks and fences and houses and stuff. And, like it's awesome. Well, it's awesome crossing that bridge from recovery into like my workspace because like I can apply principles in I try to practice principles in all my affairs. I'm never really good at it, but, like practicing the patience and the tolerance and the love and all that stuff, like, especially when new people come in and work and stuff, it's easier whenever I'm actively working a program to deal with all that stuff. And I notice that in all facets of my life too, you know what I mean? And everything that I do, I have more patience when I've been like talking to you guys about stuff, man. When I get stuff off my chest, like immediately, because Joey likes to bottle stuff up until it explodes. That's like the MO, right?
Me too, man.
Oh man. Like I'll start, I used to like send hammers across job sites. You know what I mean? Like if anything happens, I'm snapping out. But I noticed that like because I was a supervisor for a construction company for a while, man. And, you know, like dealing with a lot of different people in a lot of different areas. Like, again, I deal with plumbers, electricians, all these different trades, and like do all this stuff and have a lot on your plate. But at the same point in time, I got to take and pump the brakes and be like, yo, you got organize stuff in my mind and then handle one thing at a time. And Nathan's actually helping me work on that now, because like I overwhelm myself all the time, even with people. You know what I mean? Like, how do I help this guy? How do I help this guy? How do I do this? How do I do this?
How do I make this appointment, that appointment, or make sure that I'm still
man.
Practicing a program, all that stuff. And when I overwhelm myself, it's going to be a lot more than if someone's like, hey, let me help with a calendar.
Exactly.
And like a date sheet.
I need somebody to help me check myself.
Yeah.
Because like, it's not like he's checking me. He's helping me check myself.
Exactly. Which is a hard line to find.
Gosh.
Well,
just like doing things for people.
I have a follow-up on that, though, because I think it ties to what we were talking about earlier. Why do we think it's easier for us to control, maybe not control, but to plan other people's lives, you know, to help other people do checklists and things like that? Why do you think it's easier for us to do it for other people than it is to do for ourselves?
Because it's my way of burying all my stuff and other people's stuff.
Because my life's harder than yours. I think that's how a lot of people think. Is my life is harder than yours. Right. I have more hardships than you. I have less free time than you. And that's how I think, at least. Okay. Sometimes is you know, I'll tell dudes, I don't get why y'all can't make a 10-step when I know you're not busier than me.
Yeah.
Which I believe, but is also screwed up that I believe that.
Well, so also the other thing is that when I was in the end stages of a rehab I was at, somebody asked me a question. Does it need to be said? Does it need to be said right now? And does it need to be said by me? Mm-hmm. Like, that's a big thing, man. Like, do I even need to say this out of my mouth right now? Is it going to hurt somebody? How is it going to affect their day? What it is? And it's like, it's constantly thinking about others, but also that's helping me practice that spiritual program in action.
Yeah.
Like checking everything that I say. What are my motives behind saying this? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Am I saying this because I want to put these people down and like, you know what I mean? Or motivate them and like make sure that they know that they could.
Can I do both at the same time?
Right.
Like it's screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I am helping somebody, and sometimes I'm an enabler, so I'm a people pleaser. This is something share that for real.
Hell yeah.
When I'm putting somebody else's life in place, you know, making things and outlining things, I don't have the same fears and anxieties that I do when I'm doing that for myself. So I don't have the emotion in there. So I don't get stuck in my own fears. And for me, I get paralyzed when my mom calls it analysis paralysis. And that's part of it, because, you know, I want to do all the things, the fear of missing out. And also when I'm just afraid of failing, it's like every single day, every minute of my life, I'm going to fail. You're going to fail. You're a failure. You're 44 and you're short. You're not even 5'5". And
that's not even your fault.
It's not even my fault. I know, right?
Cute little corgi legs.
Damn it, God. Little corgi legs. Little slow.
Now my dad's calling me out. Seems like you're fearful of talking to me. Yeah.
Oh, where is he up there?
He's watching.
He's watching.
He better be watching.
Man, our parents. I'm glad I'm glad she's not watching. My dad watched a few times in the beginning. I'm somewhat grateful he's in the beginning of when we started doing the podcast. But when I'm able to take emotion out, you know, I'm able to get more done, which is what I'm getting at. So like when I'm trying to plan my day, it's like I know I need to get this done and this done and this done and this done and this done. I know that there are things I need to get done to have a successful day. Now, that doesn't mean that I know the difference between what I need to do and what I want to do. And what that means for me, at least, you know, sometimes that I think I need to do aren't actually necessary, you know? Like, I don't need to spend that half an hour on the toilet in the morning playing my little video game. I could just, you know, I do. Well,
that's something that you want to do, so why can't you wake up a half hour early?
Well, because I get to bed at 2 a.m. and blah, blah, blah. Right.
But there's solutions to our problems today. There's a solution. There is a solution.
There is a solution.
It's a program of action. Get up a half hour earlier. Do what you need to do in the morning.
I think it might be melatonin too.
And it also Nathan yells at me all the time about my rigorous schedule that I keep. He's like, "Why don't you break your schedule?" And I'm like, because that's just like what I do. That's what I'm used to. And he's right though. Maybe I do need to switch it up a little bit.
I think you've mischaracterized my thinking about this. No.
I win.
Perhaps
You
I
don't
haven't. I'm watching. Is that your mom?
See, now both of my parents are watching.
Excellent. This is awesome. We're gonna make.
I love it.
So I can't say shit.
It's too late now.
Too late, baby. But I have given you, how do I say this? With just saying it, right? I know, Joey, that you've put these very structured life, and what that means, when I hear that, what I think about that is it sounds like a lot of expectations I'm putting on yourself. And so I know what expectations are, as you know what expectations are, and I know what resentments do. And so it's not that I say, hey, don't do that. It's more of a, where's the flexibility in that? I like structure too. Like, before we came in this room, I updated my refrigerator and stacked it with bottled water. and I took a lot of pleasure in making sure that all the bottles were not only put in, neatly in line, but they were all faced the same way. And I'm not talking, there are 2 labels on that bottle and it had to make sure the bottle was the right label. And I had everything like I walk in there and I even joke. I mean, this is a joke I know for myself.
Might be a chronic mental condition.
It might be a chronic mental condition, but if I go in there and it's not there, if it's out of shape, out of line, I'll just move on with my day.
Sure.
I might put it back into space, but if you look in the wall, like there's a crack in the wall of one of my paintings, right? And I know I'm talking about it. Clearly I'm not over it, but there's nothing I actually can do about it. I don't have the paint. Nothing I can do right this minute. I could certainly repaint the office. I could get another color, put an accent wall.
That'd be sweet.
An accent wall.
Yeah, it'd be pretty sweet.
I want to paint the room black.
I'm about it.
I'm kind of about that.
Nathan, I also think it's kind of unfair for people to judge how I spend my time if I'm not hurting them.
Ooh, that's a good one.
If I choose to spend my time by, going to work, taking a nap, getting self-care, going to a meeting, if I'm holding up my end of the bargain and not letting other people down and holding my commitments that I have had, I don't think it's anyone else's place to criticize how I decide to spend my time.
So here's what Nathan's getting at, right? Like before, Nathan and I have known each other for a long time, and man, when I was in recovery before, man, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, get to the gym by 5 o'clock in the morning, work out for an hour, come home, make breakfast, go to work, come home from work, take a shower, go to a meeting. And I'm talking about this is every single day of my life, right? Every day at the same exact times. I could set a stopwatch and be exactly.
See, that ain't me.
Right. So, but the thing
but I'm not going to criticize you for doing that.
Right. But today, this morning, dude, I woke up 15 minutes before we were supposed to be here.
How dare you?
How dare I? Right. But I was like, well, I needed some sleep. This morning, I was like, man, I needed the sleep because I didn't sleep for 3 days.
So it didn't throw you off mentally or anything, though?
I mean, I'm still pissed that I didn't work out in the morning. But, or make breakfast because that sucks because now I'm hungry. But, it is.
But I think it'd be another thing if you told people you were going to wake up early and make breakfast and decided to sleep in for self-care. So then at one point, it's like, I had to do something for myself, or I let down what I said I was going to do for other people.
Right.
So it's kind of like weighing those two options.
Oh, I'm talking about making breakfast for myself. I don't think everybody.
Okay. Yeah, and see, that's an example that I also have is sometimes I know, at least when I was a lot earlier in recovery, I would say yes to everything and end up not following through on everything.
Breaking
so some people would end up feeling slighted because I was trying to do so much. So now I have to use the complete sentence no a lot more often, which sucks initially, but people generally get over it pretty quickly because they understand
they get it.
That's
I'm trying to take on too much. And that's what he's getting at when he tells me that. It's like, Joey, are you putting too much onto your plate to where you feel like you have to do this, 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 and this, so that whenever anything deviates from that, are you going to get overwhelmed in that emotional barometer that I've been filling up for months because I take no time for self-care unless it's the gym or whatever. that emotional barometer eventually explodes.
And when we get headstrong, I think I'm really protective of certain things too.
Mhm.
Like protective of my recovery, protective of how I want to spend my time, just protective of other people and their feelings too, and stuff like that. So I think that ends up being a major motivator at times.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like the further and further I get into like my thought patterns and like how do I do something different, man? That's what it boils down to, right? Because I've tried this thing a couple times now. Like how do I do something different with my life that's going to yield me a different result? Right. So like I have to take stock. The big book says we take stock of all our personal attributes and we get rid of the worst ones. Oftentimes we keep the worst ones. Right. And so like I've worked through a 4-step, a 5th step, and all this stuff before. And I kept the worst items in stock. Right. And even though
That's part of my identity. That's who I am.
Right. And like that's what I think. I think that like, I need to hold on to this stuff because that's what people like. I'm a pretty loud dude.
No,
you don't say.
No.
I'm pretty loud, rambunctious. I got a lot of energy and stuff, man. But like now I'm trying to learn how to like chill out, calm down, don't move at 1,000,000 miles an hour all the time, all day, every day. And that's just like one of those things that like I know I need to work on because I miss stuff, man, all the time. I'm moving too fast and like even at work. And like this affects all aspects of my life, right? Like so I'll be moving 1,000 miles an hour and forget to punch out a code item or something like that, something that I know is going to hit us on code, but I forgot because I'm moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I do the same thing in my recovery. I'm moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour, always thinking about what's next. I'm not thinking about right here, right now, today.
And detail-oriented stuff it takes to get there to do it completely.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's where you differ. Is you're pretty detail-oriented, perfectionist almost.
Well, I actually
like moving fast to get to the next thing and be efficient versus moving a little slower and patiently to get detail-oriented stuff to maybe stuff getting backlogged or anything. Not to again criticize you.
No.
I'm just noticing a big difference in how y'all might approach
This
work and life in general.
This is why we get along so well.
Yin yang.
Yeah,
Good contrast.
Definitely two sides of the same coin. Your vibrations match my vibrations a lot. I know, so it's kind of.
It's true.
To me, I don't know about how you feel, but like I feel comfortable in your chaos until I don't.
Until you have to live in it.
Well,
Welcome to the Xander Zone.
Fortunately, we're just friends, so it's like it's like, get out of my office. Go, go to group. Why aren't you in group?
Because I don't want to be.
We're doing a session.
All right, I'm about it.
I know, right?
I need coffee.
I don't even know where we were. What was the question? What are we
It was
doing?
more of an observation as to how
Yeah.
you're detail-oriented, perfectionist, more patient mentality versus a little more headstrong, efficient. Let's get on to the next
little
one.
more
I don't
gas
think
in the
one's more
tank.
right than the
I
other
would say
either.
yeah, what's more efficient though? Like having to go back and do something or getting stuck. And this isn't a Chris. I think the way I relate to Joey especially is because if you were to have observed me 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, I think I would more look like the way Joey is now. What has been ever since I've known him.
Gas in the tank.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if the pendulum has swung too far into the.
I don't think so.
Well, again, balance is something that I can't really know if I've achieved it until way after the fact. Oh, look at that. That was really balanced in my life at the time. I don't know that that'll ever be something I don't know. Perhaps I'll be able to observe in the present moment with balance at some point in the future. That would be nice. It would be very helpful. And right now I'm trying to refrain from using the word but, and
It's tough
because anything before but is what
gone. Just kind of nixed, yeah. And then of course we have the
I always called it.
yeah, the Michael Pence fly running around here too. So that's a political joke there, guys. Political joke. Oh, look at that. Carly Rose says you're not lying.
About what?
Carly, what are you talking about there?
What time?
Yeah,
All of it.
All of it.
all that.
Well, so I was not to interrupt.
No, please.
So I was talking to somebody outside, and he's like scared to death. He's going to go to jail, man. And he's like, he told me, you know, I'm not going to put him out there, but he's like, man, God damn this fly. He was like, I don't want to go to jail high or sober. And I was like, why not? I was like, you know, like what?
Yeah.
I was like, why? It's actually like kind of awesome. You know what I mean? Because
then I have to think about myself.
Well, yeah, A, but B, like then I have an
terrifies me.
opportunity to maybe help somebody, man. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm practicing recovery while I get locked up. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And I looked around and I was like, man, if you go out and get high at the first phase of stress or anxiety, man, what does that prove for recovery?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I looked around and I looked at all the dudes in the house, and some of them ain't never been in recovery before, man. You know, some of them have no idea. Somebody just asked John what a sponsor is today. And I'm like, oh my God, like people really don't know that, like, that this exists. And like, that's an eye opener for me, man. Like, cause I've been in here for so long that like this, it's just like natural to me, but like other people really don't know. So if they look at us as an example of what recovery looks like, and then the first sign of stress, this is why this is literally what kept me in while I was getting ready for court and stuff, man. I looked around the room and like I looked around at the guys that I live with and the newcomers, all of the newcomers that are at the meetings and stuff. And I'm like, man, if I go out and get high, what does that prove for this room? You know, what does that prove for
That
the
means
people?
that new guy who's never dealt with something like that says, oh, that person who knows recovery real well is showing me that I can get high when I get stressed out.
And then I can go get high. You know, that's what we're showing.
Because the room will accept me when I come back.
Right.
Like,
Right.
It's crazy.
It's nuts, man. Like that's the first thought that was the first thought in my mind when I spoke to my lawyer. I was like, man, I'm going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, whoa, hold up. You did that before. And it didn't work out so good. So, you know, this time I just like kind of had to pump the brakes, look around and be like, man, I want to help these people, man. And the only thing that I had to do to help them was stay around, man. Only thing I had to do to help them was to not use. And that is it, man. Just not use and chill out and share that shit. And people came up to me and were like, man, how'd you even stay here? You know what I mean? Because I think I'm getting locked up. I think I'm doing some, like, I think I'm going to lay it down for a nickel, you know? And, you know, people came up and they were like, man, I saw some serious results, man. And that feels good to me, man. And that helps me grow into doing the next right thing. Because this thing is progressive. Big Book says that the rewards of sobriety are as infinite and progressive as the disease that they counteract, right? So like the rewards that I get from recovery grow just as fast as my disease does in the other direction. That's crazy, right? Like,
and your faith rewarded you for your resolve,
right? I mean,
I think
it's like I'm still working on figuring all this shit out, right, in my head. But at the end of the day, man, like I'm just trying to not get high. Like at the end of the day, that's what it all boils down to. Because I want to do the right thing and I want to help some of these guys that are coming in here and have no clue what this thing is about. And I look at that and I remember being that dude 12 years ago. I think it was 12. It might have been 11 years ago. But coming into the rooms sick and having no clue what all of these people are doing sitting in a circle. Man, what are you guys? Because the first meeting that I ever went to was a bunch of gnarly bikers. The room was filled with cigarette smoke. Everybody smoked Marlboro Reds. You know what I mean? I'm talking about, and it was a big old circle of people that had 30 plus years of recovery. And they told me to sit down and shut my mouth and let them love me until I love myself. I had no clue what that meant. I was like, I think I already love myself. And I didn't. Right? Because like shit from the past, all this stuff, I never even looked at myself before. And like this time coming into recovery, I had to make a realization that I still have no clue who I am 12 years later. Still have no clue who I am. And like, I got to do some stuff different or I'll never learn who I am and I'll never grow into this process, man. And like, that's what this whole thing is about for me, is just like trying to look at people and remember myself exactly where they were at. And that's how I relate in rather than out. Because like you said, sometimes I get that anxiety in a room full of people and I think they're looking at me and judging me. But at the end of the day, man, if I relate into these rooms instead of out, it's not about me because I'm not that big of a deal, bro. I'm not that big of a deal. I'm not the shit. I'm not God. Why are they thinking about me?
No one's worried about their own problems more than mine.
Man, nobody gives a shit what I'm thinking for real. But that's the beautiful thing, is that this is all about self-discovery. It's all about learning about myself. And then I can try to help somebody else do the same thing if I can, but we never give advice. We never give advice. We can walk the walk. And that's the only way I try to show people, man, if I can. And I'm not sure that I always do a good job of it. But as long as that's a constant thought on my mind, man, I'm always going to check my motives and check my moves. And because I could do shit for the wrong reason. I could talk to somebody for the wrong reason. I could talk to somebody a certain type of way for the wrong reason. But like recently, I've really been trying to check that and just try to talk to somebody because they look like they need some fucking help and guidance through this, man. Because like people don't know that this shit is a different way to live, man, and a better way to live.
Joey, I have known you for over 2 years, and since I got into these into recovery, and both of you, separately, but both of you now together are I consider friends, right? I consider friends in recovery, and it's odd because you're a participant and your staff, so there's weird boundaries that in normal world life
There are no boundaries.
Dun dun dun. But there really are. That's the thing. It's like there actually really are, and it's a permeable barrier. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
I love that about you. Both of you would be able to. One of you would be able to make sure I had the right word. That's why you're my friends. You have some of my interests, but the way that you both affect me in my recovery. And you being back has affected my recovery just recently. I thought about you Tuesday. I'm going to give you 2 truths from Tuesday. Truths. So our home group meets on Tuesday night, and we went to the meeting, and we've had several discussions about basically how we interact with people in meetings and making sure that we're talking to newcomers and are we just there for fashion shows and things like that? And we might have been taking a little inventory of some other meetings. No, we definitely were. Yeah. However, in that particular meeting we were in, there was a guy who picked up, a white chip. And afterwards, right after that meeting, I went straight over to that guy to talk to him, and I thought about you, and I was like, I'm grateful that we'd had that conversation because it reminds me to do that. I'm not freaking perfect. I want to go, goof off with my friends over there. And I wanted to play with the dog and stuff, but and I gave that guy a hug, and that was all I did. I said 5 days, big hug, and he held on to me like his life was at stake, and we exchanged numbers and because it is, and it is, and whether I talk to him or not, that's not the point. Ever again, the point isn't there. It's like I hope that I gave him a little bit of that love and hope that I received when I first walked in the room. Everybody was like, here's a little book. It's got a whole bunch of phone numbers. Call any one of us. I didn't call one of those damn numbers. Not a one. But I remember it, to this day. Like, and when I go to meetings and newcomers are there and we don't do that, I kind of go, huh? Second way on Tuesday. And this is some deep honesty here. You want to go deep?
I always.
You want to go deep?
Always.
So we went.
I'm scared.
You're scared. You should be.
All right.
Oh God. Anyway, we went to Wawa, right? We were listening to some loud music.
Lamb of God.
And it was before the meeting, I think.
Was it?
Yeah. You turned me on to Lamb of God. But before the meeting, we go in there and we go to Wawa, and there was that moment where you said, "I'll just wait here," and I went,
"Is he going to steal my car?"
Well, and we've joked about it before, but I did have that moment because if there were a time to do it, and say fuck it, oh shit, I'm sorry, to say F it.
You can't take it back now.
I wouldn't worry about it now. This whole episode is out the window.
Just put it on the explicit.
Yeah, it's going to be on the explicit.
Because this was Tuesday, right before you were going to go to court, right? The car's running.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so that it did go through my brain, right. and I went and in that moment, as I'm getting out of the car, and I'm like, I said, you know what? If it happens, it happens. It's not going to change how I feel about you because I'm learning to separate the act from the actor. You as a person, I love to death. Things you've done in the past, things I've done in the past, like, don't judge me by that stuff, and I don't know what that says. I'm sorry. I kind of, and I felt bad right
You
away.
are 100% in the right, because there is a certain particular point in which I would have definitely stolen your car.
But,
So,
and it wasn't even so much about stealing the car. I mean, that's one part of it. It's more of a,
I'm just joking.
I think that's just a different version of you worrying about him.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, but the thing is that when I'm ready, everybody knows I'm ready, because it's apparent. You know what I'm saying? And like last time when I came into the rooms, man, I came back for like a day and then went slam back out, right? But everybody could see it, and they told me when I came back, I was like, why didn't you tell me this when I was? And they did. You know what I mean?
Right.
Why didn't you tell me this when I came back for a day? And they were like, we did. Like I was so jittery and I was running around, and I was
This ain't on us that you went back out, bro.
man. They're like, stop deflecting this shit. It's on you, bro. You wanted to go smoke crack. So I'm like, I get out of jail, and I'm like, I got to get this done, all this stuff, and like I'm already overloading myself, right? Already putting too much on my back, and like I'm moving at 1,000 miles an hour, first thing smoking, and like this time I just kind of like, I was like, cool, you got to pump the brakes. Like, let's learn a little bit about ourselves and how could we do something a little different this time, because last time didn't work out, and just take my time and try to learn, man, because obviously I damn sure don't know how to do it alone. Like I have no idea what I'm doing in here. I like to try to pretend like I do, because I've been here for X amount of time. I like to pretend like I got all the answers out of the book, and I've been doing it on the podcast too. You know what I mean? Like I can read you the book, man, from my head, but it's about the action that I put in every day, right? Like that's what matters to me now. Well, that's what matters.
Regularity and reliability.
Yeah, like just being reliable and showing up. You know what I mean? Showing up for people, man. And like, I love that, man. I love that. I love being able to, like, if somebody's like, hey, Joey, can I holler at you? Or, hey, Joey, can you help me with this? Yes. Well, unequivocally, without any hesitation, yes. Because like, that's a beautiful thing, man, to just be able to be like, yeah, I can help you, man.
I'm moving this weekend.
No.
Stop it.
No, I mean, like, that's the thing too, is like I've helped half of Richmond move.
I know.
Man,
for
free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they come try to pay me, and I'm like, no, I don't. That's not why I do it, man. You know what I mean? That's not what it's for. I like work on people's cars. I love working on people's cars. Don't hit me up about working on your car.
But I do it for the love, baby.
Well, yours is a different story. But like, and I don't do it for money, man. I don't do it for money. I do it because people need help. Sometimes because people help me, man, coming in here. Man, when I came back in, when I moved into the scout house, I had no clothes. I had a pair of shoes that I got locked up in. I had nothing. I had no bedding. I had no food. I had no nothing, man. I had zero because I got rid of it all. And people helped me, man. People showed up. And now that's my job. That's it. That's my only job, is to just show up and try to be the best human I can be every single day. And if that fails, it fails. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And hopefully I help somebody.
That's what Moses said to me one time, is when we come in here, it's first we take, then we give, then we share.
Yep.
And I that's powerful to me, because I have a hard time taking, easy time giving, and sharing's just the most fun. It's ideal.
Trust God, clean house, and help somebody. Those are the 3 steps you have to follow, supposedly. I don't know, because whatever. But
Joey, I'm glad you're here, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're back.
I'm glad I'm back too, man.
I'm glad that you ended up doing this.
I did not want to.
You sitting on the couch like, no, and then you waited like 30 seconds and was like, fuck it, I'll do it.
Whatever. Dude.
So,
I'm glad I'm here.
Want to do a quick gratitude check?
Ooh.
What you grateful for?
There should never be thinking before gratitude.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wait, should?
should not.
Then what are you grateful for, big dog?
I'm grateful for every single person that ever opened their arms to me when I came back to these rooms.
Aw.
And that I'm not sleeping under a bridge. I'm grateful that my family and my fucking girlfriend get to watch this and see my face. I'm grateful my dad didn't have to bury his son. That is a powerful piece for me. I got to talk to my dad the other day after the podcast, man. Yeah, I'm grateful my family is still doing well because if I was in their lives when I was out there, man, they wouldn't. And I know that.
What you grateful for, Nathan?
Well, I was going to say something about my phone, and that just no. Actually, I was going to say I'm grateful to be able to answer my phone these days, and not be.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and to have people call me, and then she was calling to check up on me this morning, but she was also calling to just talk about her day too. We talked about her kids and getting back and forth to school, and what's going on with that, and I really can't. Think of a better way to start the day than just being able to have a conversation with somebody and not be. Was that me? Oh
No.
Is that me? So ego. But that was I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
Todd, what you grateful for, buddy?
Grateful for. Actually, I've been complaining about my kids all week, but I'm grateful for them because I can remember like 4 years ago when I was in a position where they weren't even in my life. So
Wow.
I'm grateful for the responsibilities that have been put on me that I have, now that I didn't have at one point. So, or that I had the responsibilities. I just failed to step up to the role. So
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
What about you, Al?
Um,
Don't think you're getting. out of
I'm
this.
grateful. You're not in jail.
Tight.
I'm grateful you're not in jail. Todd, I'm grateful that you get to be a dad.
Mhm.
I'm
We're also
grateful to
grateful
have
you're not
all
in
of
jail.
y'all in my life. I'm grateful to be a productive member of society.
Mm.
I'm grateful to have a community of people who love and appreciate me. I'm grateful for another day sober. I'm grateful to be doing this sort of stuff, man. So
Yeah.
thank you guys.
I'm grateful for this camera angle.
It's tight, right?
It's completely missing my belly.
Oh yeah, because you got
Perfect. We should write something on this
Thank you,
whiteboard
Todd.
next time. So this has been Get in the Herd. Appreciate you guys.
We got deep.
Joey, thank you for coming back on, man. Seriously.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Nathan, always a pleasure.
Maybe not.
Todd,
Anytime.
continuously crushing it. This has been Get in the Herd. Peace out.
Hi, everyone. I'm Honesty Liller. I am the CEO of the McShin Foundation and a woman in long-term recovery since May 27, 2007. I have not used drugs or alcohol. Woo woo! Thank you so much to the Richmond Times-Dispatch and all of our voters for Get in the Herd podcast. Those podcasts are amazing. Not only has it helped thousands upon thousands of people in their recovery, as well as family members, but it has helped me in my personal recovery. I get to listen to them now in my car through Spotify and iHeartRadio. And it's just really, really important for us to be innovative in the addiction field and the recovery community. So when COVID hit, we had to be innovative. We really had to think of what can we do to reach people that cannot go to 12-step meetings, smart recovery, faith-based, whatever, that we're shutting down. So with Todd, John, Alex, and some other staff, we all just kind of jumped in who can do what. And with Todd's lead and John's lead, the podcasts have been amazing, and we're still all of your votes and all of your energy and all of your support of our mission of healing families and saving lives. Thanks.